In efforts of transparency for all those joining this public meeting, whether by phone or Zoom, we request that you refrain from having side conversations on chat about the content of the meeting. Again, the chat feature is utilized simply as a tool for you to virtually indicate that you would like to speak in order to help the chair facilitate the discussion. Going forward, as we have been for the past few meetings, all Legal Services Trust Fund Commission and committee meetings will be recorded and posted to the State Bar website. And a friendly reminder that this is a video conference, and please be aware of your surroundings behind you. If you have any trouble with using Zoom on a computer, when on mute, you can hold down the space bar to temporarily unmute. You can also use your phone to dial into the meeting. And if you are joining by a computer, it's highly recommended that if you lose audio that you call in separately using the conference number in the invite.
Great reading of the rules. You get the Academy Award for good reading. So good morning, everybody. This is Eric Iskin. I'm the chair of the Eligibility and Budget Committee, and welcome everyone. It's November 13th, Friday the 13th, but hopefully that will not be a bad sign for us. So let's see, why don't we take a roll call?
Sure. Iskin?
Yes, present.
Oklagi?
Yes. Good morning, everyone.
Bales Fightmaster?
Here, thank you.
Bennett?
Present.
Connolly?
Here.
DeBose?
Here.
Delfino? Friedman? Mann?
Here.
Meeker?
Here.
Myers? Plantold?
No, you're not either.
Okay. Looks like we have quorum. And then I'll just quickly go through liaisons and staff. So,
Erica, I'm
yes.
here, but I don't think you mentioned me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I saw you, Kim, and then I thought that it came out of my mouth, but it didn't.
You got a quorum, that's all that matters.
Yes.
Kim, you matter.
Yes. Thank you, Kim. Okay, so Selena Copeland from LAC. Bonnie Huff. Chris Iglesias. And then staff.
Oh, Erica, Chris isn't in, Erica, Chris
oh, that's right.
Board liaison anymore yet.
Yeah, need to update that. Dwan Nguyen.
Here.
Brady Dewar.
Here.
Dan Pasmanic.
Here.
Are there any other State Bar staff on the call?
How about members of the public? Any members of the public on the call?
I see a couple of people in the waiting room.
Okay, let's let them in. Did you allow those folks in the waiting room?
Connecting
okay.
to audio.
Give them a second.
Are there any members of the public on the call who'd like to identify themselves?
Hi, I'm Preeti Mishra with Dependency Advocacy Center. Just listening in. I don't have any particular comments.
Thank you. Anyone else? Are there any public comments? Okay, let's move on to the, we've got a couple of meeting action summary items lined up in the queue. We've got the action summary for our meeting of August 6th. Is there any discussion on that? And I have a motion for approval.
I think, Eric, if we can take the two meeting action summaries together, depending on just with one vote, unless.
Are there any comments on the other action summary from the October 28th meeting? Okay, can I get a motion for approval of those two action summaries?
So moved.
And I'll second it.
I'm sorry, could I ask who those voices came from?
Jim moves.
Thank you.
And Pamela Bennett, the second motion.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, I'll take roll. Iskin?
Yes.
Oklagi?
Yes.
Bales Fightmaster. Bennett.
Approved, yes.
Connolly.
Yes.
DeBose.
I'm going to abstain on the 6th and yes for the other, but I was absent on the 6th of August.
And Delfino. Friedman.
Yes.
Mann.
Yes.
Meeker.
Yes.
Myers. Plantold. And Savage.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay, thanks, Erica. So those of you who served on the committee last year may recall that Senior Citizens was one of the organizations for whom there were identified a number of issues. We did approve their eligibility, but we indicated that they needed to show some improvement. And it looks like we're going to get an update on their progress toward the fiscal and governance goals that were identified during the 2020 eligibility review. Is that for you, Erica?
Yeah, Dan from State Bar staff and Erica Connolly actually participated in that call. So I think the two of them will be able to give us an update.
Go ahead, either Dan or Erica.
Erica, shall I kick us off with a little bit of background and then you can tell us how the meeting went?
Sure, that'd be great.
As Erica explained, SCLS came in on earlier this week for a 1-hour check-in meeting. It was the third this year pursuant to the terms of their eligibility. We wanted to see how they were addressing the governance and oversight concerns that came up first during a site visit in 2018 and were exacerbated by problems getting their application and audit in time during the last budget cycle, or application cycle, I should say. In the time since we last met with them, the last meeting had been in July, they've got a trade out of their executive director, and the new person seems to be taking matters very seriously. I'd like to turn to Erica to explain kind of what we saw after that preview.
Thanks, Dan. And let me just apologize in advance that you might hear a little Sesame Street in the background. I'm doing childcare with my daughter, and this is how she's going to stay patient while I'm talking. So with that little caveat, yeah, so we, just a little additional context, and Kim was actually in the meeting that we had back in July. In that meeting, we had some concerns because it didn't seem like there had been a lot of progress on our concerns as far as the board being more involved. In this meeting, I think we've definitely seen some progress. They're meeting, the board is meeting with the new executive director about every month. They've gotten I think it's 3 total new board members and have interest from 2 more, which is good. Tanya, the new ED, has some promising plans, and she's already done some grant applications, both to the State Bar and to other organizations. And so they're definitely working on that. They had switched up their fundraising. Their major fundraising project every year had been a golf tournament. They switched to a gala. It actually had raised more money. I think Tanya is still somewhat getting up to speed on some of the details. And so Dan did a great job of providing her with some of the things that we had seen as red flags to make sure that she was on top of it. And she does seem like she's, really wants the organization to succeed and has a lot of really great plans for it. I think really, this was, our same perspective, back in July and throughout this, which is, it's just a matter of, can they make enough changes with the funds that they have before they're, you know, they have issues with not having enough funds. So I think it's just a timing thing. Do they have enough runway to make the changes that they're proposing? And I think at this point they're doing essentially all that they can with the resources that they have, and we'll just have to kind of see how they progress. Dan, do you have any other comments, or did I sort of capture what we?
Yeah, I think that really did capture it. I thought it was noteworthy how the board members seem to have a different relationship with this ED than they had with the last one. They seem to treat her more like an executive director than they treated the last one during our last meeting. I would agree that they're doing everything we could expect them to do. So it would be good if things were better for them, but under the circumstances, I can't ask more.
They're getting a grant this year, right? Or for 2021?
Yes.
IELTS and EAF.
Yes.
It's about 30,000 total, 17 and 15, something like that.
That sounds about right, but I don't have those numbers at my fingertips. They also have applications in for formula grants for HP and an RFP subcontract on the HP side, one of which is one of their biggest grant applications that they put out. So they're working hard.
Did you schedule a subsequent follow-up, or were they just back on track with the other programs?
We talked a little bit about whether that would be a good idea, and opted against it in this instance because we've got the application process coming up shortly, and they're due for a site visit this year as well. Given that this is somebody who's inheriting a pretty complicated situation. She has a lot of systems to update and things to fix. We wanted to give her a little bit of time to do that. We alerted her to the major concerns that they have to be careful not to miss, like the audit and the application process. And I'm expecting to hear back from them on that because she took some very good notes. You know, she read them back to me accurately. But overall, I don't want to get in her way. So with the site visit coming up and the application coming up, it seemed like we had enough opportunity for feedback under the circumstances.
So having been on those earlier meetings, but not being able to attend this last one, but hearing the report, I mean, I agree with you. I don't think we should be breathing down their neck. I think giving some, she knows what's ahead of her. So I think that's a good decision.
Yeah,
one of the new board.
Oh, sorry. This just really quickly on that. The other comment I will make is, you know, we encourage them to contact State Bar staff to get technical support as they go through their application. And so one of the things that Dan and I discussed is if, as those questions, you know, come in, if it seems as if another more formalized meeting might be appropriate, we can always schedule one as we go. But that was our thinking, is just, you know, we don't want to take their time and resources answering our questions if they're trying to get things resolved, you know, within the agency.
One of their new board members coming in is apparently previously the chair of the ABA section on senior law. They have some good administrative ideas. They're really short on funds, so we just want them to do their best.
They actually had a gala this year
instead of the golf tournament. Yeah, virtually. No, I'm sorry. This was before everything.
Yeah, this was in the beginning.
Over. Yeah,
I think it was the beginning of the year. And they also are. I will also say their new ED has started working with a grant writer part-time and is sort of looking into whether that's going to continue with that particular grant writer or someone else. But she's doing the things, and the new board member that joined us in the call, they're doing the things that we had talked with them about doing, trying to get interns from the colleges, you know, So doing grant writing, looking for grants that can support things like rebuilding infrastructure and updating their technology, that kind of thing. So
well, this sounds optimistic and promising, and obviously we're remaining cautious. So it's a balancing of the two, but I'm actually really happy to hear that there's been a shift from the board perspective, and their involvement and the new kind of additions. So I think all of that's really promising in terms of the support for the ED, which was lacking before. So good. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions on that report? Yes, thank you. Great report. It is optimistic. Good news.
I just want to say also that I think that this is really helpful, salutary for this organization. And I'm not sure it would have happened if this committee hadn't stepped in and made sure that they took care of themselves. Mm-hmm. So congratulations.
Great. So moving on to the next item, you may recall that our big activity for this committee at this time of the year is to approve budgets for 2021 for IALTA and EAF. And you may recall that at our last meeting, we approved the budgets of all of the organizations with the exception of two. There were some issues outstanding that the committee raised, that staff raised and committee raised about Neighborhood Legal Services and Law Foundation of Silicon Valley. So we have those remaining two to consider for budget approval. And why don't we, Erica, you want to give us an update on those two?
Sure. Let me share my screen real quick. So at the last meeting, we discussed Neighborhood Legal Services request to allocate $25,000 of their IALTA funding to making improvements in their office space. And I know that there were a number of questions about how they intended to use the funds. And so we followed up with them and asked them to submit some more detail, and that was attached to the agenda with their responses to the questions. So they're planning on engaging in some construction to make the office more functional, to increase storage space, to have sound control, improve privacy. And they felt that now was an ideal time to make those changes because the office is not operating at full capacity. They are using their office space, but at a much reduced capacity, anywhere between 25% and 50% of the office on any given day. They also indicated that they had applied for other funding before deciding to use the IALTA funding for this, that they had applied for a HUD grant, but because they don't own their building, they were unable to secure that funding. So that's why they turned to the IALTA funds for that. And they do lease their office space, but they are, I believe, have 1 or 2 years left on their lease, and then they have the option to purchase if they want to. And it seems like that is their goal, that they feel that their office location is well positioned in the San Gabriel Valley and is accessible to their client base. And so that is the direction they're moving in, although it's not finalized at this point. So that was the update from NLS about their proposed use of the funds. Based on their updated information, staff would still recommend that the committee approve that use of the funds.
Should we stop there and see if anybody has any questions or comments about that? Zahira, I think you are the one that had the major concerns. What's your thought about this report?
Thank you. I really appreciated the information and feedback. So I guess that my comments would be thank you. It was helpful to have a better understanding of what they were using the resources for and how they were thinking about the tenant improvements and what that meant for their organization in the long term. But understanding a little bit more about their thinking was really helpful for me. So thank you for taking the time to have those discussions with them. But with this report, the questions that I have been resolved. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other comments on neighborhood legal services? All right, let's move on to Law Foundation of Silicon Valley.
So at the last meeting, the directing attorney, Andrew Kane from Law Foundation of Silicon Valley, came and made public comment about their request to use IOLTA funds for representation in juvenile dependency work. And the committee had several questions still outstanding about how these funds would not be double counting towards their existing contracts. And so staff followed up with Law Foundation of Silicon Valley to get some more information. But in the course of our conversations after that meeting, they ultimately decided to withdraw the request and modify their budget. And so they resubmitted a budget last week that moved the funding, the proposed funding, to fund a social work position that is not currently directly covered by their contracts. And so this would be analogous to Dependency Advocacy Center, which also uses state part funding for social work position related to dependency, but not the actual representation. And they provided in their narrative an explanation about how they have an interdisciplinary model and a holistic service approach, and how the social work position would essentially allow them to achieve greater legal outcomes and be for the benefit of their clients. So with this change that they made to the budget, we're recommending approval of that use of funds for a social work position as well.
Thank you. Any questions to Erica? Comments on Law Foundation of Silicon Valley? Okay, so
social work, I'm sorry, back to, does the social worker position conflict with any of the state bar rules or no? Does that position conflict in any way?
No, currently there isn't an existing rule about the use of funds for social workers. And so it's brought to the committee every time that that is a proposed use of the funding. But the stance that the committee and the commission have taken is if there's a nexus to the legal outcomes, if it is in, in furtherance of the goal of achieving better outcomes for legal outcomes for clients, then that's permissible use. If it's something ancillary, or if it's after the legal matter is concluded and there's some sort of continuing social work services, that would likely be outside of a permissible use of the funds. But because it is during the course of the life of the case, and they explained that, this is it goes directly to achieving better legal outcomes. That's why we don't see that as an impermissible use.
Any other questions or comments? So Erica, what kind of a motion are you looking for at this point?
So I think there would need to be two motions. One is to approve this use of the funding. So the real property or the leasehold improvements for NLS, and then allowing Law Foundation of Silicon Valley to attribute their funding to a social work position. And there also needs to be ultimately a recommendation to the commission to approve these budgets. So I think those would be, I think they would need to be separate motions. I don't know, Dawn, do you think it's fine to roll it into one?
I think it's fine to roll into one, but we could do two.
Okay.
Just to be clear, this is to approve the resolution of the two, and then to recommend approval of all?
We've already done the other.
Yeah, these are the only, it would just be these two organizations.
Thank
you. Sorry, I'm confused. We only need the motion on these two, right? Because we've approved. Okay.
Yes.
So we've already approved the other 98.
That's right. But the way it was handled last week was we discussed budget related issues, and the committee makes a decision to approve or ask for a revision based on that, and then makes a recommendation to the commission.
Well, is it sufficiently clear to move for approval of the as submitted budgets for Neighborhood Legal Services and Law Foundation of Silicon Valley. One motion.
I think so.
Yeah, it looks like to me that it would be that we could make one motion as we did the other 90 something. So I'll move to approve.
Second, and I'll second.
Sorry, I was muted. I'll take roll. Iskin?
Yes.
Aklagi?
Yes.
Gales Fightmaster?
Yes, as to Neighborhood Legal Services, abstain as to Silicon Valley.
Bennett?
Yes.
Connolly?
Yes.
DeBose?
Yes.
Delfino? Friedman?
Yes.
Mann?
Yes.
Meeker?
Yes.
Myers? Planthold? And Savage. Okay. Kim, I'm sorry, I didn't hear your vote.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Okay, the motion passes.
Okay, so I gather then that the next step is for this recommendation to be submitted to the full commission this afternoon for approval. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so the next item of business for this committee is to deal with carryover requests and requests for budget revisions. And you may recall that, well, just back up for a second, that my understanding is that every year we deal with requests to carry over from some organizations to carry over some portion of their budget for the given year. Staff has approval to approve carryover requests and budget revisions of up to 25% of the budgeted amount for an organization. Requests to carry over more than 25% or to vary budgets by more than 25% require a discussion and approval of this committee. And you may remember that earlier this year, this committee and I believe the full commission approved a policy to look with favor, given the particular circumstances of the pandemic and the expected significant reduction in IOLTA distributions next year, to look with favor upon carryover requests that even those that exceed 25%, at least for this particular year, for this year only, given the unique circumstances of the pandemic, that we wanted to give organizations the flexibility to carry over budget monies and thereby spread the risks of reduced funding over a couple of years as best they could do so. So we have received, as we expected, a number of carryover requests, and you all saw the chart that Erica prepared and circulated. So we probably should, and that chart identified those organizations that were seeking a carryover of more than 25% and a budget revision of more than 25%, as well as those that submitted revisions for below those thresholds. So Erica, can you kind of, we don't have to discuss every single one of the organizations, at least at first. Obviously, if anybody has any questions, we can entertain them, but can you just kind of overview the situation at kind of a high level, and then maybe we can dive in if anybody wants to look at specific cases.
Mm-hmm. For the above 50% or just?
No, well, just in general,
sure.
How many, yeah, you know.
Yeah, so we received 33 requests that were above 25% of the grant award. Many of them, sort of the major themes that emerged in the explanations for the revisions and the carryover was that organizations, many of them received paycheck protection loans. And so that sort of took priority, that they needed to use that funding and other emergency funds within this year. And because of the messaging that there would be greater flexibility or leniency regarding revisions and carryover, that organizations chose to hold off on spending the IOLTA and EAF funds. And the other main theme that emerged was that with the drop in IOLTA funding in 2021, a lot of organizations felt that it was important to sort of smooth out their funding or maintain a certain level of funding into 2021 to ensure that they didn't need to engage in major layoffs. And in general, a lot of the budget revisions that we did see, for the most part, not in every case, but several of them were moving funds from administrative or non-personnel expenses into personnel, again, to avoid engaging in layoffs in 2021. And so with the increased demand for services and the desire to maintain staffing levels, that seem to be major motivating factors for these requests. Of the 33 that were above 25% of grant award, there were a handful that exceeded 50% of the grant award. I think it was 6 out of the 33 asked for quite a high percentage of either carryover or budget revision. And so we decided not necessarily to make a staff recommendation in those instances, but to defer to the committee. The other ones, staff generally recommends approval. We felt that, you know, given the challenges of the year and the explanations that were provided, that you know, organizations were responding to the messaging from the commission and the state bar, and felt that this was necessary for the coming year.
Erica and Eric, can I add a couple sentences?
Sure.
So, you know, there wasn't a staff recommendations for the one that exceeded 50% because we thought it warranted a discussion. I think the staff leaning though is for approval, since the commission did already pass motions to be flexible, and we didn't provide programs with kind of a general percentage. There were a lot of programs that came to us to ask, and I really couldn't nail down a percentage, but I said that typically what happens is that most carryover requests hover around the 25%, and then, you know, during normal times, and we might get only a handful, 1, 2, 3 that maybe are over 25%. We don't typically approve over 50%. So I did say that, you know, if you were below 50%, there's a great likelihood that the commission will approve it, given that they passed motions to indicate that they wanted to be flexible. Anything above 50%, we just couldn't be sure. And I think the staff leaning is to approve because of the pandemic and everything that's going on, but we did think it warranted a discussion because we do believe that next year, you're also going to get the same high carryover amounts from some programs. And then that becomes a little bit more of a policy, inching towards a little bit more of a policy discussion in that, you know, we think the Fed funds rate are going to stay low. IOLTA is going to remain low for quite some year. So do you want to let programs have that flexibility and build, I guess, a short-term reserve, or would it be better, the best interest of the community, to have those funds come back to be redistributed to all programs? So I think that piece there warrants a discussion in terms of thinking forward for next year. So it's not so much for this year. I think the staff leaning for this year is to approve, but we need to think ahead in a year when those, and some of these large programs may come back and ask for another carryover. And so then they might theoretically be carrying over for 2 years in a row, and would the commission feel comfortable at that point? And we need to start messaging because programs are moving into planning mode for next year budgeting. So and that's why we wanted to flag it for the commission, for the committee, and I think it warrants a discussion at the commission level today as well.
Would it be useful to maybe take 1 or 2 of them that are over 50%, just so we can have a concrete idea of what we're talking about, to kind of look at what it is they want to carry over and why? Maybe you guys could pick a couple.
Sure,
either
sure.
Put the chart up or just talk to us about them.
Yeah, maybe Erica, pick a couple. There are comments that I mentioned that their percentage is high, but they receive a small grant. So I think in those cases it's a little bit easier to approve, but maybe we should pick a couple, Erica, that were the amount is actually large as well as a carryover percentage.
Also, is everyone pretty familiar with the PPP and how it worked? Because I
had questions, but they were, and I targeted them to the additional material that Dewan sent. Mm-hmm. So I had a general question, and then I was ready to kind of paste them in the chat. Just questions about the 3 pages that she sent over. And the one general question was about the PPPs and how that would impact their budgets, and if they were required to repay the loans, if there was an interest rate or how that would impact their budget. So that was a general question for all of the programs that took advantage of the PPP loans.
I can actually tell you the answer to that is my family has gotten a PPP loan for my husband's business. It's kind of, so you were supposed to get forgiven for essentially payroll costs during a set period, which is why programs had to spend that money right away and spend it on specific types of costs. So which is why you would want to switch it from in the budget, possibly switch your grant money to other things. Because you had to spend this federal money during a time period. And if you did, that proportion was supposed to be forgiven. But then no process was actually developed to get forgiven. So it is up to banks whether they are allowing people who've taken out loans to defer their monthly payments. And it's a low interest rate, I think it's 1%, but you have to pay it back in a very short time period, only 1 year. So if you did have to start paying it, the monthly note would be considerable. Most banks are letting people defer, but it's just up to the bank because there's no way to apply yet for the promised loan forgiveness, which will presumably someday come.
You don't know. See, that's the bad.
Kind of a debacle.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and put in all my questions in the chat. Let me see, because let me see, did they capture them all? There they go. Because I just kind of, I guess, apply them to the 3-page materials that were later sent to everyone. And they were like I said, the general question about a few of them were the PPP loans. So you've answered that question, so we don't have to redress those. Let me see. So is this the right time for these questions or no?
Yeah, yes, it is. Okay. Go ahead.
All right, so I'll just go to the 3-page, where's that? The 3-page additional materials that were sent. So for page 1, there's only 3 pages, page 1 of 3. Program number 2, the question is answered. Let me see. Program number 3, they listed expert witness costs. And my question was, how will expert witness costs impact Central California Legal Services budget? And what expert testimony would be needed for? So you guys can kind of read over the questions, and we don't have to answer them today, right now, but just know that these are the questions that I have. You can think about them, and then just you can get back to me on it, or us on it.
Did you post those? Because I don't see specific questions in the chat.
Okay, I think it took up to 3 of 3. Let me go enter there. Okay.
Oh yeah, program 1, 10, 2 of 3. No, we got a whole stack.
You do. So just take your time, no rush. But the PPP one, that was a general question, and that's answered. And more than one had that PPP question attached to it. So I crossed those off the list. So I just had a few questions about how they were naming and phrasing things and what some things meant. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that the organizations that had PPP loans, I would say all of them very clearly identified that as one of the motivating factors for requesting these. So the ones who didn't mention it, I don't know if that factored into their decision making, but I would say a vast majority of these explanations did have some reference to PPP loans. So
yeah, they did.
I can
knock those off my list, because then the answer was given for that.
I think as far as next year too, it's a thing to consider whether, in terms of Juan's question about rollovers next year, if there's still this uncertainty with the PPP program, then that's will be something to consider. Or if it's not resolved until the very last minute, which is also possible. I mean, it's kind of this big question in everybody's budget. No one's really sure what to do about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in terms of next year, I mean, I don't see, we could certainly tell organizations, to the extent that we approve carryovers, we could certainly tell organizations that this approach that we're taking this year has just been approved for this year.
Mm-hmm.
And we have no, you know, we may take a similar approach next year, we may not. I think that's all we can say today, right? I don't think we have before us a proposal for next year.
Right.
No, you don't. I think it's good to start thinking about it, because at some point, probably early next year, at one of the earlier commission meetings, you might want to have a more formal motion so that programs know, but programs would like a leaning, so they start planning. That's the main thing, even if you don't have an official motion. And obviously, we will message to programs, and I'm sure Selena will help us too, is that those motions were 1 year, and we'll revisit. But programs are anxious. I'm already getting a lot of questions about audit extensions, and I know the budget ones are going to be coming very soon next year.
Yeah, I think to the extent we can just decide that early in 2021, it's probably better to resolve it as early as possible so people can do their planning.
Well, it's beneficial all around, right? The sooner they know, the sooner we're able to work on our side. We don't have the delays like we did in 2020 on the staff side, right? So it becomes a domino effect.
Exactly. So
it's really a positive move for everyone's sake. But I just, you know, I think this question of 50% or more, and Erica has a question in the chat, which is one of the questions that we were looking at in terms of how long do programs have to carry over and spend the funds. We were, you know, just as a reminder to all of us, it was only a few months ago, but boy, it feels like a few years ago, as 2020 has been going, that we really were looking at this as collaboratively as we could, right? So to give programs the runway they needed, and that's really what we had been messaging out. So I'm not surprised that folks have come and asked for 50% or more. I'm not surprised if they ask for a longer runway. It's what we had all said we would do and we would approve. So I think, you know, I'm leaning with where the staff is leaning, because it's consistent to what we at this committee and the commission level had messaged, that we would be as partnering as we can under the circumstances, so that programs can, you know, take a breath.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I guess Bonifay's comment triggers a question in my mind, Dwan or Erica. Do these carryover requests that have been made, including the request to carry over 50% or more, or even those that are carrying over less than 50%, are we to assume that if we approve that request, that will allow them to carry over for the entire year? Or, because that's what we had indicated we were going to look with flexibility on.
Yeah, so some of the requests explicitly requested being able to spend down over the course of the whole year. Others didn't necessarily specify, but I do think because that had been messaged to the community, that would be the prudent approach, to just allow, if they need it, to spend over the course of the year.
And on the technical side, we've already built out our online system for programs to be able to do a 1 year carryover. So typically, when you have approved a 6-month carryover, they're released to additional expenditures report, or what's called a Q5 and a Q6 report. We have already built out the Q7 and the Q8 report in anticipation of the year carryover for next year. So, you know, if they you know, decide to spend in 1 quarter or 2 quarters, then they'll complete just Q5 and Q6. If they need Q7 and Q8, well, we will then release it for them. So it's the system is built out in anticipation.
I've got a question. we're using the 50%, but I was wondering if we should attach an amount also, like on program 13 on the spreadsheet, the eviction defense collaboration, they want to carry over 47,480, which is 88%, which needs approval. I mean, that's less than 50,000. It's basically to hold over a social worker's position. It seems to me, in light of our previous discussions of making this easier because of the shock and funding we're going to get next year, could we add a like 50% and or less than 60,000?
Well, and I'll defer to Brady for this, but we don't want to pass a motion with actually percentages in it, because it's a fine line between creating actual policy, because then that would trigger us needing to go to the Board of Trustees. And this is a placeholder, these are placeholder motions so that we can get through the pandemic. And it's really right. Once we go through codification, we'll revisit what the standing carryover and budget modification policy should be. So that would be my advice, but I'll turn to Brady to, I don't know if he agrees.
You said it precisely.
Mm-hmm.
But really, this is a great point that Jim's making. What's a way to balance not creating new policy, but allowing for staff to be able to, you know, approve under these conditions? Because it looks like it's egregious at 88% outside of obviously this time of COVID, but when you zero in and you drill in, it's a very small sum.
And yeah, and that was exactly the program that Erica and I talked about it. We were leaning on just put it approved, but we thought, let's just do the 50 and it warrants a discussion. But yeah, for that one, it's, you know, it's such a small amount relative, but there are some that are larger. And I think that's where probably the discussion should fall on.
Well, maybe if we do decide to allow carryovers for second year, we could say that we are considering both the proportion of their grant and the size of the carryover both, so that smaller programs would know that, you know, we're not going to look with as much scrutiny on a less than $50,000 carryover, I mean, without specifying any particular dollar amount, but just that both of those things would be factors.
I think that's a good idea. Maybe we could look at the spreadsheet, but just to give you also a little bit more context, you know, the IOLTA decline in interest rates, the revenue hasn't it hasn't been a sharp decrease. So we're seeing a decrease. It's a little bit more of an incline, and Carolina is going to make a presentation at the commission level. But at some point, if what we think is true, that it will remain low for some time, we're only going to net probably with IOLTA about $8 million. We're still not there because we have reserves and it's not the sharp decline yet. But if they do stay near zero in some year, we don't know if it's next year or the year after that, we're only going to be around $8.5 million for IOLTA. So that's not a lot of money. So if that helps you contextualize some of these carryover requests and the impact, because that amount could be substantial if we take it back and redistribute. So I'm not advocating for that, but it's something to think about for future years.
Well, do we want to put the spreadsheet up and just take a look at one or two of them that are over 50%, just so we can have some concrete idea of what we're talking about? Maybe Erica or somebody could do that.
Is it possible to increase the size of the? Thank you.
Yeah, some of us are aging over here.
Yeah, so there's this one from Dependency Advocacy Center, 58% carryover.
Program number 3? Number 10?
10.
Okay.
I think your point is a good point in terms of the amount and not just the percentage, because right above it is at 20%, but it's 185,000.
And there were organizations like California Rural Legal Assistance that had very large awards, and so they are proposing very large carryovers, but percentage-wise, it doesn't rise to 50% or more.
Can we look at that one really quick?
Sure.
Even though it's not above 50.
Font was even smaller on that one. So.
Oh, this one, right? The
yes.
one, yeah.
So theirs was, yeah, $1 million or 1.2, but it's a 34% carryover.
Not that I'm saying that we do this for this year. Obviously, we've already said what we said, and we should obviously honor that. But just as an exercise, has staff gone through to see if we weren't going to approve, what is that sum that would come back into giving for next year?
For all of them?
Well, anything over the usual amount of 25%.
I haven't done that. We could do it. I mean, it's pretty easy. It's in an Excel, so we can just add the columns together. But
yeah.
we haven't done that.
But are you asking Bonifay just what happens if, to the extent that we don't approve a carryover, where does the money go? Is that your question?
No, what would be the sum coming back in?
Oh, all right.
Yeah. And I'm not advocating that we do that for this year. I just want to make sure that I underscore that.
Actually, that is my question, though. What does happen? Not that we're going to do this, but I mean, if we decided not to approve a carryover, what would happen to that money?
They have to remit the funds to state bar, and then we put it back into the reserves for next year's distribution. And then when you go in next spring to figure out what the IOLTA distribution is, you know, that money will be included, and you'll decide whether to be distributed or how large the reserves is. With the EEF funds, you know, we work with Bonnie to figure out that number. So the commission, you know, doesn't really have it's not a say, but it's the Budget Act kind of determines the amount that's getting distributed from the EEF, 90% through EEF IOLTA formula and 10% through partnership. And then we have some reserves for EEF that we keep. But I think the CRLA actually, even though it's not, that is a good example to kind of wrap our heads around, because say, I mean, it seems like you're going to lean on approving this $1 million carryover, but what happens next year if they come back and they also have a $600,000 carryover, and then we've hit interest rates that are actually low. We don't know if it's going to come in 2022, but the distribution say is 10 million. That's, you know, becomes sizable then for what it would mean for the community. So again, we don't have to make a decision today. We wanted to at least bring that up as this is what we've been grappling with or starting to grapple with. And I agree with Corey, at some point early next year, if we can have some type of motion or some type of indication so that the programs can start planning. But it would be nice if you guys have, if there are additional points of information that we can collect for you. For instance, Bonachet, we're happy to run those numbers and perhaps present at the next commission meeting, not the one today, but the one when the commission will go to decide. Those are points of data that we can easily collect.
I think it's also interesting in the CRLA response, the discussion of increased need, which is another reason that we were encouraging the carryover requests, and just something that we'll presumably know more about as time goes on. Obviously, we're not going to know immediately what's happening with the pandemic, but it doesn't surprise me that they're experiencing a huge uptick in housing intakes, for instance.
Yeah. In order to try to meet that 2021, early 21 motion, I'm looking at my calendar. When is our next eligibility and budget meeting?
We have the meeting set up. I don't have it at my fingertips. Erica, do you? I know our next commission meeting, not of this year because we have an ad hoc one in December, but for 2021 is February, and that's the one that I would suggest. We can
that's the same. Yeah, it's the same day.
So in addition to carryovers, we're also talking about budget revisions as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Were there any? And I guess we decided to look with equal flexibility to those requests. Can you talk about the budget revisions, at least in a general sense? I mean, were there any issues that struck you with any of the particular requests that we should focus on?
Actually, Eric, I'm sorry to interrupt you with that question, but Kim Savage is making a good point right now that in 3 minutes, a number of them are going to be going to the Banks Committee. And if there's anything that we need to be voting on, we need to do that in 2.5 minutes.
That. I didn't know we had that time limit. Okay, so happy to.
From this committee that's going to go to bank grant, but I think you still have quorum, right? Even if they leave, Erica.
How many are moving over?
3.
3.
We can leave. Kim has to go because she's chair, but if you need quorum, we can leave Jim and Herman.
Well, let me ask you this: are folks ready to vote? Are there any issues that people think we need to discuss before we vote? Because I mean,
I'm ready to vote. I don't know if anyone else is ready to vote.
I'm ready to vote as well.
Should we just?
Erica, can I just ask one quick question, which is, if we vote, are we voting to also approve for a whole year? Or like, how are we doing the timing part of this?
Yeah, you've already voted a motion to approve the whole year at a previous.
Okay.
It would be for a whole year.
Got it. Okay, I just wanted to confirm
all the carryover requests are built in as for a year.
Got it. Okay, just wanted to make sure that was clear. Thank you.
So would the motion be to approve the carryover requests and budget revisions as indicated on the spreadsheet, or as requested by the organizations, as memorialized by the staff spreadsheet?
Well, in addition to, we had a number that we said defer to committee, but it sounds like the committee would like to approve all of them.
Yes, that would be the motion.
That would be the motion.
Can I make one other suggestion? Can we add some language into the motion that says due to the COVID-19 emergency? Because I think that may address some of the policy concerns for next year. Is to
didn't we do that last time?
Previous motion, yeah. I think to make it clear for this.
Well, we could do it again, but I just want to make sure that we had it languaged last time as well.
We did, but I think it's no harm to repeat it.
And I know Kim has to hop off, but just half a minute more. I asked how I have to hop off for the bank grant, but Eric, we wanted to thank you for chairing the Eligibility and Budget Committee for the last 2 years. And this is Eric's last meeting chairing. Erica Connolly will be the chair for this committee next year. So we look forward to working with Erica. And Eric, thank you so much for your
everything.
For everything.
Yes. Thank you. So with that,
just for clarity,
do we have a comprehensible motion?
Yeah.
Motion as memorialized on the spreadsheet and as deferred to the commission, all to be approved for the full year due to the COVID-19 emergency.
I'll move that.
I'll second.
And I'm sorry, who was the second?
Corey.
Thank you.
I'll take roll. Iskin?
Yes.
McClogy?
Yes.
Bales Fightmaster?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
Connolly?
Yes.
DeBose?
Yes. May we leave now?
Yeah. Delfino? Friedman?
Yes.
Mann?
Yes, but I'm abstaining as to Disability Rights California and then also Legal Aid Society of San Bernardino.
Thank you. Meeker?
Yes.
Myers? Planthold? And Savage.
I think we lost her.
Yeah. It passed. The motion passes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, Kim was shaking her head yes before she.
Oh,
clicked.
okay.
Yeah.
Is that demonstrable? We have it on video, right? I'm counting.
Regardless, it's fine.
We don't want any allegations of vote fraud here.
No, no,
Totally.
I'm identifying the video on video.
Oh, okay,
All right,
so
the motion passes. I don't see much else on our agenda.
Just got to go over some next steps briefly. After today's meeting, you have the commission meeting this afternoon, and it'll be brought for a vote on the 2021 budgets for approval, as well as these 2020 budget revisions and carryover requests. Once the 2021 budgets are approved, our office will be releasing grant agreements in early December to be due back at the end of December. So we'll be able to move forward with the next step of that for the 2021 funding. And then just as far as the 2021 calendar, it looks like we currently have 8 meetings scheduled in 2021. Some of those we may be able to cancel along the way if everything goes to plan, but the first meeting for this committee will be February 26th, where if we receive any late budget revisions and carryover requests, we'll bring it to that meeting. And then in the early spring, we'll start moving into the application process again, which based on our planning for this coming year, will hopefully be a little bit less of a time crunch for the way it was this year for everyone. But I think Zahira has a question or a comment.
Yeah, go ahead, Zahira.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And this is kind of to our earlier discussion. I didn't want to interrupt the flow because I knew that some of our colleagues had to go off to the next committee and it didn't really impact the last vote. But with respect to kind of thinking about carryover moving forward, I wonder that as we continue to have those conversations, if it's possible for the team to, as updates come in on what's happening with the PPP loan over the course of the end of this year and going into next year, if we could be given a little bit more information and context with respect to that with nonprofits, because it is ever changing and every nonprofit that I speak to has a different understanding of when it's going to happen and what it will look like. And right now what's happening, just to get an understanding of what's happening on nonprofit books is like it's cash on hand, but it lives in the liability side of their books. And so there will be a point where if that's forgiven, that's gonna move from the liabilities into revenue, which doesn't mean that they have any more money. It just means that there has been like this technical shift on their books. And so what that means in terms of what they're spending out and what they're spending on payroll might have impacts that then kind of relate back to carryover, but from a practical sense of what it means to spend money, it doesn't have any like practical reality to it. It's just a technical shift of money moving on a piece of paper. And so I think the more we can understand like what's happening with the PPP loans might help with later understanding what type of carryover we'd be considering in the future. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So Erica, like this year, we amended the application process a bit. We extended it due to the pandemic. And I guess that was because everybody was rapidly shifting from in-person to Zoom and had to do all kinds of shifts in their way that they operated their business. If this pandemic continues long into 2021, which it might, would we anticipate needing to shift the deadlines there as well for 2021? Or can we assume that people are now kind of used to the pandemic world and should comply with the standard deadlines? I mean, you don't have to, I just wanted to get a sort of thought about that, just a sense.
Yeah, I think our assumption is that, you know, things have normalized a bit as much as they can under these circumstances. We created a calendar that has the application come in, I believe, at least 4 or maybe even 5 weeks before the first committee meeting, whereas this year, because we extended the deadline, there was actually, I think, only 10 days between when they first came in and when we had the first committee meeting. So this will give staff a lot more time to be able to look through the applications and work it up and have more business kind of handled initially instead of having kind of those frequent succession meetings in the middle of the summer. You know, I think it also does still have that flexibility though, that if there were some amount of delay. We haven't had a discussion about this. This isn't the plan, but if there were some need to delay applications a bit, there's more cushioning there, but that's not the plan. And that's not the intent of the current planning, so.
Well, that might be something to put on the agenda for the February meeting as well. If it's going to be any change in expectations or maybe clarification of expectations for timing, that we want to be sure people will understand what that is as early as possible. Mm-hmm. Is there any other business to be accomplished today?
I just wanted to say something really quickly. I wanted to acknowledge you, Eric, for the last 2 years. You know, you jumped in and you held on to the reins of this through, especially this last year. So really well done, amazing leadership. Thank you for everything. And how perfect that it's now teed up for Erica to come in and take the baton and run us through 2021 and hopefully to better times in 2022. But thank you for everything.
You're welcome. Thank you. And Eric, we're in good hands with Erica. I think you have to have the name Eric or Erica in charge of this committee.
I was saying it was very confusing between Erica Carroll and then me. It's going to be.
Yeah, and we can't even see Erica C because you're both Erica C too. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody, and thank you, Bonache. I appreciate those kind words.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see everybody this afternoon.
At noon. Yes.
Yeah.
See you guys. Bye-bye.